everybody see the projection? Because I'd like to leave the lights on a little bit. I know what happens when you get into a darkened room, right? You just go to shutdown mode. I have a superhero power to go into shutdown mode whenever my body stops moving. Dentist's office, usually doctor's offices, airports, big one. And I know a couple of you probably have the same power, right? So, would you prefer the lights on, or you want me to turn them off?
Lights on, sir.
Okay, we'll leave them on. What I would suggest, real quick, if you haven't been doing it already, you see these detailed notes I have right here? If you want to take those notes down in your notebook, all right, we can utilize those notes. Can you not see them? You want me to turn the lights on?
Yeah, I can't read it.
You can't read them? Is it because it's too light, or is it because English isn't your first language?
Yeah, too far away, sir.
Too far away? Oh, so you need corrective lenses. Okay. You require corrective lenses?
Yeah.
All right. We'll get that issue sorted out the last day of AT. All right. So, somebody else have something? No? So I would take these notes down, and also when it comes to movement formations, like the FOOM class, just like football plays, I would kind of write out their duty positions there if you need to, all right? Which probably a couple of you do, all right? Or most of you. But how's everything going so far? You guys grasping this stuff? All right, asking a lot of questions at the end of every class?
Yes.
Hopefully so, hopefully so. So theoretically, honestly, put it out there, all right, real talk. If you were like Data from Star Trek, and you could just retain this information as soon as I give it to you, and like learn it and know it, right after this class, we can send you off to Ranger School, and you do well. All right, you might have to work on some of the physical stuff, all right, which we saw this morning, no big deal. But hey, guess what? Who can't get into shape, right? It's the technical and tactical stuff that people really start to have a problem with, okay? This is all that Ranger School is. It's just planning and patrolling all day. And we're teaching you exactly what you need to do when you step out of the wire, how to move, and how to react, okay? So, without further ado, let's talk about my class, React to a Near or Far Ambush. All right, I'm Staff Sergeant Jimenez. I'm going to be your primary instructor for this next course of instruction, okay? So what is an ambush? An ambush is defined as a surprise attack by fire from a concealed position on a moving or temporarily halted target, okay? Whatever element is stuck in a kill zone of an ambush is going to have their combat effectiveness either halted or negatively affected, right? We're going to lose some of our combat effectiveness. All right, how do we stay away from getting caught in an ambush? We're going to go through, when we go through the planning procedure, and we're going to talk to you about setting up an ambush with your squad. You're going to take that experience and that information, you're going to do a detailed terrain analysis and en-route navigation, and you're going to stay away from those places that you would suspect or you would set up an ambush on, okay? But if we get caught in an ambush, it's important to know how to react to an ambush. And reacting in the appropriate way with your squad, executing a battle drill in the proper format is going to save lives, okay? So, that covers plan to avoid possible ambush lines, all right? Along initial contact with the enemy, if it's a close ambush, close contact, how do we measure that? It's within hand grenade range, all right? Could it be just outside of hand grenade range and still we could still react with react to close ambush? Yes. So it's more like Med-TC dependent, all right? But the book states 35 meter hand grenade range. We're gonna return fire and grab cover, okay? You'll see in our illustration up here, while we're moving, this is the lead element, headquarters element, trail element, okay? Lead element takes contact from an enemy element to the right. They are the team in contact. So upon contact, within hand grenade range, they're going to return fire, okay? They're going to grab cover, and since they're within hand grenade range, the first thing they're going to do is deploy concussion grenades, all right? Fragmentation grenades and/or smoke grenades, all right? I wouldn't recommend smoke grenades. But guess what? Med-TC dependent, situational dependent, you're going to deploy all three or one of those things, Okay? Now it's important upon initial contact that the team in contact gets those grenades out immediately. All right? While they're behind cover. We all have to do this simultaneously and within seconds. The reason being is that as soon as those grenades go off, it's going to signal to that team to begin their assault. So what do you think happens if we take contact right now, within 3 seconds, 2 of us throw a grenade, but 2 seconds after we throw our grenade, somebody else throws a grenade? We're going to hear 2 grenades go off, we're going to get up to start the assault, and we're going to be not behind cover when the other one goes off. Okay? So we have to control that reaction. All right? Throw hand grenades simultaneously in order to prevent fratricide. Throwing grenades out of order or not simultaneously is going to result in fratricide. Okay? While they're doing that, the team not in contact is going to throw down suppressive fire onto the enemy. Okay? You'll realize that in this situation itself, in this diagram, the enemy is over to the right, which gives us a little bit of distance and the proper angle to make sure that we're pinning them down with fire from the trail team. Okay? However, situational dependency, what if we were taking contact from the front? Could we do that?
Yes.
Could the rear team provide suppressive fire against an enemy to our front?
No.
We couldn't, right? Why?
Not without
Because it's a fratricide situation once again. Our lead team is masking the fires of our trail team. Okay? So that's when we're going to talk about a little bit, we're going to go into what we learned from squad attack, right? We might have to maneuver elements. But the important thing is, when reacting to a near ambush, is to get that fire superiority and to eliminate that enemy threat immediately with our hand grenades. Once we do that, if we can, one of our other teams is going to provide suppressive fire, and the initial team to gain contact is going to begin their assault. Okay? They're going to IMT to their objective, if need be. If we eliminated the enemy with our initial reaction, we gained fire superiority. It was a limited number of enemy combatants, 2 or 3, and we're pretty sure that they're down for the count. Can we all move in a formation, in a wedge formation towards them, expecting contact? We could. But if we suspect that not all the enemy isn't totally neutralized, are we just going to put everybody in a wedge and march up to them? Probably not, right? Because I'm expecting enemy contact at some point. We're out in the open. We're moving. Are our fires 100% accurate while we're moving? No. Not necessarily. But should we take into consideration that we're 35 meters away from them, so we might be able to hit a target first round hit? Okay? Situational dependent. Once they begin their assault, and once they get to the kill zone, it's important that the team providing suppressive fire on the enemy, if they still are, shifts and lifts off the kill zone so that they're not masking, the lead team is not masking their suppressive fire. Another fratricide situation. Okay? Once that lead team gets to the kill zone where the enemy was located, they're going to clear through the objective. All right? Once they clear through the objective, clearing the enemy, right, or neutralizing any threats, they're going to push to the LOA, the limit of advance. How far away is the limit of advance from the kill zone? 35 meters. Why? Hand grenade range. Okay? Once the team leader gets his team to the other side of that objective, 35 meters away, he's going to consolidate and reorganize. What's the first step when consolidating and reorganizing? 360 degree security. All right? First and foremost. As soon as the trail team leader and squad leader hear the assault has ended, they're at the LOA, or they see it, they're going to pick up, push across the objective, and link up with them, and establish the other part of the LOA. Okay? All right, we have 360 degree security. We're going to confirm sections of fire, right? What's the next step after 360 degree security?
Ace reports.
Get ACE reports, all right? Physically go down and check all of your men. All right, it's a scary situation. Nerves, our nerves are pretty high at that point, it's important to go to every single man, physically check them to see if they're okay, and ask them how much ammunition they have left, okay? More than likely, if one team is low on ammunition, which one of these teams is it going to be? Alpha team, right? Alpha team. On a FAR ambush, when you're executing a squad attack, which you guys just went through, right? How long do you think a successful squad attack should probably take if the enemy were 200 meters away? What do you think? It always situationally dictates, right? And METC comes into it, but give me a round of bats. How long do you think? It's usually like 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so for 5 to 10 minutes on a FAR ambush, Alpha team is going to be laying down suppressive fire. How much ammo do you think they're going to have when they link up with you guys on the other side of the objective?
A whole hell of a lot.
Okay, so the first thing we do, 360-degree security, and then ACE reports because we're about to consolidate and reorganize. All right, consolidate and reorganize. We've got to reestablish the chain of command if we had a casualty or anybody wounded, right? Bravo team leader, Alpha team leader, RTO, we need to get those positions filled. All right, those are leadership positions that need to be manned. Key positions need to be manned. All right, so we're going to reconsolidate and reorganize. Any key weapons that went down, we've got to get somebody on it. So the 240 Bravo is a pretty key weapon, right? We're going to put somebody on it. This is going to be team internal, if possible. All right, so if my machine gunner goes down, who's next in line to grab that hog? The AG. It's generally just a bad day when you're the AG altogether. All right, you don't get a break. Okay. All right. If Bravo team Saul just went down, who are we going to put on that weapon? A rifleman. Okay, because that's a key weapon. We need that up. All right. Team internal first, and then the squad leader takes charge. Put somebody from another team into that team to man the key weapon system. All right. We're going to cross load ammunition as needed. Once again, team internal first, and then squad internal. Okay? We're going to also reconsolidate and reorganize any squad equipment that we need to have. Okay? We're going to take it out of the casualties ruck, put it in somebody else's ruck, and then the casualties ruck is going to be treated just like the casualty, right? We're just forcing that thing around until we can get to the CCP. Okay? We're going to get a sit rep prepared, and that Bravo team leader is going to get an emergency resupply request together if necessary. All right, chances are it's probably going to be necessary because do we want to go on to execute our mission to an objective that enemy contact is almost inevitable without a full battle load? All right, if we just wasted half of our ammunition, do you feel good about going to an ambush with that?
No.
If an emergency resupply is possible, that's what we're going to go for. Okay? So, once we have those sit reps prepared, and once we have our security established, and we went through our consolidate and reorganize procedures, we're going to start deploying our special teams. We already talked about that a little bit, didn't we? The process is exactly the same. Okay? So what special team do I call up first? EPW and Search. Clear and search. What am I going to tell them to do first? Clear the objective, right? We have to clear the objective of any threats before we can really own this objective. All right? If there's a threat still on the objective, do we really have 360-degree security?
No.
No. All right? No, so we need to neutralize that threat or at least identify it. So we're going to ask for our EPW and Search to come to our position, to the squad leader's position. He's going to give them tasks, conditions, standards, and a time hack on what he wants to be done. Okay? Do me a favor and write that down in your notes. Task, conditions, standard, time hack. Very important. Now, how many people is he going to take off the line to conduct a clearing of the objective? It's going to depend. It's going to depend on a couple of things, right? It's METC, but situational dependent, right? The size of the enemy element he just encountered. If I have a 2-man EPW team that are clearing together, but I just engaged 6 guys and they're spread across the objective, how much time do I remain on the objective, right? I might have to take another team, okay? The overall size of the objective, as I just kind of briefly mentioned, right? If it's a big objective and we've got 1 KI over there, another KI over there, another KI over there, how long is it going to take them to go to each of those KIA and search them? Maybe get another EPW and search team together, all right? But how much time can I remain on the objective before the enemy reinforcements arrive? That's a big one, right? We have a reinforcement time in our planning process that Hire has given us. Enemy reinforcements will be on scene within 30 minutes. So generally, how much time do I want to spend on an objective if they're going to be there for half an hour?
15.
Half, right? Because I want to be well in the bushes on my way when they show up, okay? That's a consideration. How many men can I pull off my perimeter without letting my security fall? All right, with a squad-sized element, how many people do you think you can really pull off without having security totally down past minimum? Probably like 2, all right? Probably like 2. You can maybe go with 4, but you're gonna have to move some things around, right? You're gonna have to stretch it, but it's dependent on these other considerations, okay? Once I call them to me, task conditions and standards, how I want them to search. I'm going to get 2 men abreast, 2 men together, and generally I'm going to tell them to zigzag from point to point until they clear the objective of any threats. Okay? Zigzag through the objective. Why do I want them to zigzag? So they don't miss anything, right? Could I have had an enemy just roll off the objective real quick? Maybe got shot in the arm, got down, rolled off the side of the road, hiding in the bushes right now? Possibly. Could there be another enemy combatant out there that I didn't see? There possibly can. All right? Very much a possibility. So I want them to zigzag. I'm going to give them a reference point, like that big oak tree over there, 10 meters away from the road. I want you to start there. I want you to zigzag to the other side of the road. Continue to zigzag until you get to that rock all the way on the other side of the objective, about 60 meters away from us. Do you see it? Roger, I see it. Okay, go. You have 10 minutes. All right, 5 minutes, whatever. Task conditions and standards, and a time hack. So, once they go out and they clear the objective, they come back and they report any considerations, right? Any KIA, WIA, anything that's going to pose a threat or change conditions for us. I want them to report it. Once they do that, who am I going to call out next?
Aid and litter.
My aid and litter team, right? What if we don't have a casualty? Do I still need to call them up? I don't. I don't need to call them up. If I don't have a casualty, I don't need aid and litter, right? If I do have a casualty, they're going to report to the squad leader. The EPW and search team is going to go back to the line where their team leader is going to give them a sector of fire, put them on the line where they're best utilized for security. Aid and litter team is going to come up with their aid and litter equipment, right? And then I'm going to give them task conditions and standards on how I want them to treat the casualty and where I want them to bring him. Okay, generally they're going to bring him to the CCP. Did I have a planned CCP for this?
No.
Probably not. I might though. Generally, if I just got into contact en route to my objective, I usually have planned CCPs, but are they really anywhere near me right now? We were going to have to consolidate, right? We're going to have to reorganize. We're going to have to get in a movement formation. We're going to have to move out there. So I establish a hasty CCP within my perimeter, all right? Usually it's going to be right next to the squad leader. That easy, all right? Question?
Yeah, are you going to want to wait until you move off the objective to set up a CCP so that you're not waiting for somebody to come, you know, exfil or medevac your EPW or your KA?
Okay, I understand. So when we get to the planning process, we'll talk about planning CCPs.
Okay.
So right now, we just got into contact on the way to our objective. Our next planned CCP is in 500 meters.
Okay.
We need to take him there. But for right now, I need to bring him to the rest of my formation because most likely, where is he located, this casualty?
Where they got it.
Back on the objective. All right, we've got to bring him up here because he's not secure there. All right, we don't worry about him when he falls down initially because I've got 12 guys, now 11. How many guys are initially in contact? Well, if Alpha Team loses one guy, how many people are they really assaulting with? 3. So I want to take time out and care for that casualty while we're being assaulted from 35 meters away? I do not have time for you, man. I'm sorry. Once we push through, neutralize the enemy threat, set up security on the other side, and get ready for a counterattack, right? Or a reinforcement element coming to our position. Once we're ready for that, now we can address the casualty, okay? Do you guys also see why we clear the objective before we deal with that issue? What if I didn't clear, there was an enemy threat still there, and I went to treat a casualty? What could possibly happen? Yeah, now I've got 2 more casualties, right? Potentially. I'd have to clear the objective, okay? Gonna be kind of hard to do if your buddy's screaming the whole time, but guess what? You gotta go step by step, okay? We need security before we have to do anything else, because you constantly need to be prepared for what's coming next, all right? So, aid and litter comes to me, task conditions and standards, tell them how to treat, collect the casualty, bring him to the CCP, which I just established, which is usually right next to the squad leader, okay? Once they do that, and I have the casualty, really, I'm prepared to move now, aren't I? Okay, so I might want to stay to do what? What would be one of the reasons why I want to stay? Because I have to collect PIR, right? I have to search the enemy KIA for any information that I can use to pass up higher. This is an excellent opportunity to get intel, and it truly is, all right? But if I don't have time, I don't have time. I got to get out of it. What am I constantly thinking about? The enemy's reinforcement time, okay? I got to get out of it. How long does it take to package up a casualty? More time than you ever had, all right? You never have enough time. So, quite possibly, you're going to have to step off right there and then. But if not, you're going to tell your aid and litter team to either get back on the line or keep one of those guys with your casualty. You're going to call the EPW and Search team to you again. They're going to come off the line. Every time somebody comes off the line, what's that team leader on that section of the line doing? Reestablishing security, right? Moving guys around, reestablishing sectors of fire, keeping them awake, keeping them aware. All right, we need to have 360-degree security. Okay? EPW and Search team is going to come to the squad leader's location, and he's going to give them task conditions and standards on how he wants them to search the objective. Once again, keeping these considerations in mind. All right, how many EPW and Search teams does he want to his location? All right, so task conditions and standards. Part of it is going to be I'm going to give one guy the code word of black, the other guy the code word of gold. Black and gold, Ranger thing, right? You guys want to do, you know, pink and orange? That's fine. All right, I don't know. It's a new army. We can do it. I'll be pink. That's cool. All right. You want to do, you know, you want to do Eagles and Giants? That's fine. All right. I would be Eagles. Okay. Because they're coming back this year. It's going to be our year. All right. So, just a keyword, and that's a control measure, okay? And you'll see why, because when you go out there and you have 2 guys split up, because now we own this objective, correct? Why is it not important that they move out in buddy teams right now?
You have security.
Because I own this, right? I have security, it's been cleared, there are no threats on this. So in order to get the maximum amount of results for my effort, I'm going to split them up, okay? One's going to be black, one's going to be gold. They're going to both search the enemy KIA at the same time, all right? And they're going to report to you what they find. They're going to scream it out. Who's going to be taking notes? The RTO. Who's keeping time? RTO. All right, he's going to constantly yell out time hacks. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then when they get to be close to their cutoff time, hey, squad leader, it's 15 minutes. We got to go. All right. So, black, 1 AK-47, right? Gold, 3 mags, 1 PKM. More on the next round. All right. But that's an example. If they're both searching and you don't have some sort of control measure, all he's going to get is a bunch of information and you're listing things down twice. We're not at all. Okay, so you need a control measure. All right, once we're searched and we give them the standard to bring all that equipment back at a consolidation point so we can collect it, okay, they're going to be put back on the line. As soon as we have everything in a consolidation point, everything's been searched, cleared, any casualties have been dealt with, we're now ready to do what? To demo. To demo that equipment. All right, if we have demo. All right, they're gonna, demo team's gonna come out, they're gonna put the demo on the consolidation point on all the weapons and material that we gathered up. All right, and they're gonna destroy it. They're gonna give the time fuse to the squad leader. And then they're gonna go back on the line. Are we just picking up weapons for the consolidation point?
Nope.
What are we picking up?
Intel and
Intel, any kind of missing essential equipment? What about a radio?
yep, radios.
What would you want to do if you found an enemy radio? Like if they had an old Singon,
Keep it.
right?
Check
Why are you going to keep it? It's an enemy radio. I don't get it. All right? I am going to keep it because it's got freaks in there, right? It's got intel in there. If I can't carry it, we've got a casualty, we need to move quick, and it's a real old, heavy fucking radio. What am I going to do with that?
Write down the.
I'm going to write down the intel, right? I'm going to write down the frequencies. All right? Can I smash it if I don't have any demo?
Yeah.
What am I going to do with the weapons if I don't have any demo?
Take out bolts.
I'm going to field strip them, right? Take the bolts with me so they can't be used against me again. All right? So, once the squad leader has the demo prepped, he's going to put them back on the line, and we're going to begin our withdrawal. Okay? More than likely, you're going to want the team that has the furthest to move to withdraw first. Okay? You need a controlled withdrawal. Why don't we all just get up, go back to our rucks, and get ready to withdraw? There's no security. What happens if we do that, we're moving, and then that reinforcement element shows up? We're caught with our pants down. Okay? Do you guys realize that if we have security set, well, I'll say this security is set, and these guys are moving, and there's an enemy counterattack, what are we ready to start executing? Squad attack, right? Or break contact, depending on the situation. But we need to have a security element posted. All right? The team that has furthest to move, generally, is going to be the first team to move out. They get to their rucks, they put their rucks on, team leader sets them down, facing the other direction, so they can pull security, or wherever we think the enemy threat is going to come from, right? The enemy's most likely avenue of approach, or most probable course of action that we already analyzed during our planning process. We're going to set down pulling security in that direction. Once he's set, he's going to signal up to the squad leader. The squad leader is going to take the rest of his element and go to the rucks to get set. All right? When the last man passes the squad leader, that's when he's going to detonate that time fuse. Okay? And they're all going to run back to the rucks, get it on, get in formation, get ready to go. Detonation's going to happen. They're going to signal up to the squad leader that they're ready to go with a thumbs up. The squad leader's going to move out. All right, and they're going to make sure that they send a sit rep up to higher of all the PIR collected, and that they're moving on executing the mission. Okay? Continue mission. Any questions about react to a near ambush?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
On sensitive site exploitation, when you're calling out flag and goal,
Yes.
does each individual go over the whole objective, or do they have it split up half and half?
Okay, fair question. So that's a control measure, right? I would do that. We just cleared it, and they came back to me like, hey, there's 4 KIA over here, and there's no KIA over here. Okay, well, I want to split that side up over there and say, you go to the first 2, you go to those last 2, and you guys clear and search them. Okay? Just because if you don't, they're going to be running around like chickens with their head cut off. Okay, so at all times you need to give control measures out to make sure things are done effectively and efficiently. Okay, so fair question. What else? Yes?
You were talking about gaining fire superiority before treating a casualty. What happens when you have, or what would your wisest decision be when a react to contact or react to near ambush turns into a break contact and you still have friendly personnel on an objective?
Okay, so if you ran into that situation, you can't leave them. Okay? You've got to establish security, stop your movement, and then you're going to have to grab that casualty, and he's going to be part of the maneuver element in the break contact. Okay? While you have security and hopefully gains fire superiority on the enemy in order to break contact back. Okay? We never leave anybody behind, and I know what you're thinking, right? We could have started assaulting to the objective, have a casualty back here, and then realize when we get to the other side that they're counterattacking and they're a larger force than we expected. All right, at that point, we lay down a base of fire and we go through break contact, but you're adding a casualty into it. Okay, so you just gather up the casualty, which is going to take a little bit more time, all right, and then you start breaking contact with him in the maneuver element. Does that make sense? All right, because we have to have a base of fire to break contact effectively, correct? We can't sit him with the base fire element. Why? Because base fire is going to sit here, maneuver element is going to come back. When they get set, hopefully, they'll be able to provide cover fire for the base fire element, but the base fire element is all the way up next to the enemy. How effective are they going to be IMTing back with a casualty?
Not very.
Not very effective. Okay, if I can put everybody online to hopefully gain fire superiority. Tell the 8 litter team to go back, grab that casualty, and when they're ready to go, signal me. And then as soon as they start moving, guess what? The one side folds back, and then we just start bounding back. And those two guys, they just worry about that guy the whole time. Okay? That's a little advanced stuff. We might do that to you out there. I don't know. You guys are doing well. We'll do that to you just to bring you down a couple notches, maybe. All right? Yes.
That casualty then is going to constantly be moving, right? So alpha team is the base element, you have a maneuver element, and then as soon as your maneuver element is set and they're returning fire, then as soon as the now maneuver element is moving past where the base element is now, that casualty is then moving with the new maneuver element.
So you can do it a couple of ways. Okay, but how I would do it, because I know that is your weak point at that moment, that casualty. 8 and litter team. I already have 2 guys that are ready to go. Usually it's going to be 2 guys from a different team, maybe. If it's not, I just take another guy from the other team. So now my teams are evenly spread apart. I tell them to grab that casualty, start moving. As soon as they start moving, that's when I begin my break contact, and I don't take anybody out of any squad. I just keep on bounding back with them. All right, but you have to control it, okay? You could do that, or you could bound back with your casualty and keep switching it off to different squads if you wanted to, all right? But I want to get him out of there. He's my weakest point. And the 2 guys carrying him, are they effective?
No.
With defense? Are they effective in keeping security and returning fire and anything? Well, then why not? Let's just bound back, staying with them, okay? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Try to stump me. Really good at this stuff. All right. Or maybe I'm just making it all up. Who knows? No other questions about near ambush? Okay, so let me ask you. How are we going to react to a far ambush? What is a far ambush? How far out is that going to be? Past 35 meters, generally. Okay? How are we going to act to a far ambush? We really have 2 options. What is it? Break contact or squad attack, right? It's going to be one of those 2 things. Is it going to look exactly like we told you it was on the board? It could, but MET-TC, situation dependent, it might not. All right? You see how those answers always kind of play in, right? If all of a sudden I'm reacting to a near ambush, things go all ring, and now I got to break contact. Or another force, I just push them off the objective, now they're posted over here, but it's still 3 guys. Am I going to let them consistently hammer me? Or am I going to squad attack? All you got to do is get a base fire element down and start maneuvering. All right? Base fire, maneuver. Maneuver forward, maneuver backwards. Base fire tries to gain fire superiority on the enemy to give us the ability to maneuver on them. All right? And then we flank them. Very easy stuff. So that's reacting to an ambush, both near and far. Any questions at all before I go into react to indirect? None? Pretty clear? We'll see. We'll see. Sounds pretty easy, right? Sounds pretty easy. Light leaders, Highlanders, right? This stuff sounds easy. Team leader. How many guys are you in charge of? 3 guys and yourself. Pretty fucking easy, right? It's not. It's not. Okay? At all times, 2 out of 3 of these dudes are not going to be doing what you need them to do. Okay? The trick is to A, always know what you need to do next. If you always know what you need to do next, then you're just waiting for that moment to execute. You start executing, okay, what's next? All right, and then it just happens smooth. The problem is, you guys don't pay attention to this stuff, or you think you know it, or you're not taking notes, or something to that nature. When you get to here, I don't know what I do next, and everything's happening very quick. So when it's time to execute and do the next thing, you start stumbling. And you can see this is it's just like a football playbook, right? It really is a little simpler, I would argue. Okay? But if you don't know where your guy's supposed to pull, if you don't know where your guy's supposed to block, the pattern that he's supposed to run, what's your level of success? Right? It's just like football. If you're not fast off that ball, what's your success rate? Right? It goes exponentially down pretty quick. Okay? So the trick is to just pay attention, take notes. When we get out there, we're going to walk through it, and then we're going to start putting you in some live situations where you're going to realize that it's pretty hard stuff to handle. All right? Just managing 3 people other than yourself is going to take all of your concentration, all right, and all of your discipline. But you've got to make sure that these guys are doing the right thing, that you always have security set, all right? You always lay down your base fire before you maneuver. You communicate, shoot, move, and communicate, right? You guys have heard that before, right? It's not an easy thing to do, okay? 3 Ds. You guys heard that in the squad attack, right? Or the react to contact. 3 Ds. Sergeant Lewis told you all about them. What are they? Description. All 3 of those things are almost equally important. They truly, truly are. All right, and we see it all the time. We see people get in contact, and they act like they're in a fucking film from Vietnam. Like, contact right. I'm like, oh, great, awesome. That told me everything I needed to know. All right, contacts to the right. Why don't we just start going right? Right? How far away are they? That's important. Where are they located? That's important. Okay, and then the description, because what happens to your field of view when you start getting engaged with real bullets? You're looking through a keyhole. You really are. What happens if there's 3 guys up there, 2 of them are camoed up, but one's wearing like a fucking raspberry beret? Who do you think everybody's shooting at? Especially if the raspberry beret is a badass and he's got a PKM. Okay? All right? A squad-sized weapon, like a PKM. And then 2 AKs. What's your biggest threat? PKM. You're going to realize that real fucking quick when you start sending that at you. All right? And then who does everybody concentrate on? The PKM. What happens, you think, to everybody when they start assaulting across the objective? They keep concentration on that one guy. So if the team leader doesn't control this, and those 3Ds aren't thrown out as fast as possible, what happens to your effectiveness? Right? You start stumbling. You're not engaging guys. It's that little chink in your armor that ends up fucking you up. All right? That one guy that was hidden well behind a tree with an AK takes a well-aimed shot because nobody's engaging him. All right? Because the team leader didn't control it, because we didn't throw out that information at first initial contact, and now you got a guy down. And we just talked about how that's going to fuck you up. Okay? So, if I didn't lecture you enough about that, let's move on to the next class.